When we first started hosting, we fell into the trap of measuring our success by how hard we worked.
The goal was more properties, more clients, and in turn, that took up more of our time.
And after years of grinding, we found ourselves stretched extremely thin with no free time to speak of and on the brink of burnout.
This is all just a little overwhelming.
We knew we needed to start protecting our time, and that was going to come at some cost.
Before we dive into this episode, we want to say thank you to AirDNA for sponsoring this video, but more on them in a bit. The process of buying back more of our time was scary at first for reasons that we'll get into soon.
But it's one of the best decisions we've ever made. It's allowed us to keep building our portfolio, take on renovations, and spend more time with our kids, as well as being able to homeschool and travel more often.
And travel we will. If you haven't heard yet, we are about to embark on a 50-state adventure with our family over the span of the next 5 months. We'll be staying in the top kid-approved short-term rental properties in every single US state and documenting the entire experience for our YouTube channel.
The series kicks off next week, and you're going to want to make sure you're subscribed and have notifications turned on so you don't miss an episode.
But this trip would never have been possible if we didn't implement these 3 things into our business. Things that gave us back our time and changed the way we operate. Let's get started.
The first change was something that we dragged our feet on for far too long, and that is hiring a full-time employee.
We were cautious because the reality is when you hire someone, especially your first hire, it usually means taking a pay cut. And that's scary when you're used to just running lean and keeping all of your profits in-house.
We got to that point where we knew we couldn't keep doing everything ourselves, but we weren't convinced that it was time to make a full-time hire. So we kind of settled on a middle ground and brought on a part-time employee.
And that wasn't a bad experience at all. He was a great employee. He did what we needed him to do. But the position itself had flaws. Because it was a part-time position, he had to juggle 2 different jobs. And so we never really had his full commitment, and we could feel that.
Eventually, he left because he had a full-time opportunity, and we totally wished him well, and there were no ill feelings. And what we realized is if we wanted that commitment, we had to invest in the person.
For our next hire, we went with a full-time employee, and that was just a game changer. We've had that structure for over a year and a half now, and it has worked better than we could have ever expected.
It's not just about taking things off our plate, but that has been huge. It's about the consistency of having someone who gets to know our properties and our systems and the way we like to do things. With all of that, that means things just run much more smoothly across the board.
There's also been an added benefit that we didn't anticipate. Once we had 3 employees in our business, we qualified for a group health insurance plan. And that actually has saved us money on insurance and given us better options for insurance coverage compared to the marketplace situation that we were in before.
Looking back on this, we wish we wouldn't have waited so long, but that fear of taking a pay cut held us back.
So if you're in that spot right now where you know that you need extra help, but you're nervous about taking that leap, we've been there. And we can honestly say that once you've gotten over that hurdle, it changes everything.
Having an employee to do boots on the ground tasks and property inspections was a huge benefit, but we were still caught up with a lot of office work, things like keeping track and updating pricing, making listing changes across different platforms, and keeping calendars up to date and opening new dates into the future.
That's when we realized that the next way to buy back our time wasn't with another hire, it was about implementing the right tech. And looking back, one of the things that we wish we would have implemented way sooner in our hosting journey was a property management system or PMS.
When we only had a couple of properties, we told ourselves that we could do this all manually, and it worked fine at that point.
But as we started to grow both our personal portfolio and our management portfolio, the thought of the process of implementing a PMS became more and more daunting. At this time, we were onboarding new clients all the time and sometimes juggling multiple whole home setups at the same time. And in the middle of all of that, the idea of stopping to learn and implement a new PMS just seemed overwhelming.
The problem is the longer that we waited, the messier things got. There was always a double booking risk. There is the hassle of making listing changes all across different platforms and inconsistent pricing across the platforms. It all just kind of snowballs. We just didn't really feel like we had the spare time to implement something new in our tech stack.
Eventually, though, we had to just bite the bullet and implement a PMS, and we landed on Uplisting. It keeps our calendars synced across all platforms and lets us make listing updates in one place.
It's helped free up a lot of time with pricing updates. I can do it all in one place for all the listings, and you can set platform-specific rules like rate increases. For example, we put a 6% increase on Vrbo because their fees are higher than our direct booking website and Airbnb.
Back then, we felt like we had to do it all the hard way, but now AirDNA and Uplisting have teamed up to create the host bundle, which takes so much of the struggle off of your plate.
In the past, we've used AirDNA when we were in buy mode and we'd subscribe to analyze a new market that we were interested in purchasing a property in. But now they've added host tools, which actually help a lot with the day-to-day part of a hosting business. So it's definitely not just an investor buy mode only tool anymore.
We've played around with these host tools and they're all impressive, but we've especially come to like their comp calendar.
With the comp calendar, AirDNA will look at your property and they'll suggest comps in your area, but you can also add your own comps if you want to see a specific listing. And then you get a nice display with your listing and the comps, seeing what everyone's pricing is, what minimum stay settings there are, and where there are bookings.
Pair these tools with Uplisting, which has become an essential part of our business, and you've got one subscription that covers the entire journey of your hosting business. First, finding the right properties, and then managing them efficiently.
This is the exact kind of bundle we wish we would have had years ago. It would have saved us a lot of stress and bought back so much time.
Actually, it would have saved us both time and money because we would have had access to both tools for a lower price with the host bundle.
So if you're serious about hosting or even just getting started, don't wait like we did. Head to arrivals.com/host bundle, or we'll leave that link down in the description box for you below.
The third big shift we've made in our business is focusing on quality and optimization instead of just more.
When you're first starting out, it's tempting to prioritize growth over anything else. We focused heavily on growth ourselves for the first few years, and we don't regret it. It got us to where we are today.
But at this point, with about 45 properties that we own or manage for others, we know for sure that we don't want to grow any bigger just for the sake of higher numbers.
Instead, our focus is optimizing the portfolio we have now and to make sure each one of those properties is running its most optimized and profitable way.
And maybe even downsizing in a few instances where we aren't fully aligned with the owner in exchange for adding new properties that we buy ourselves.
We don't have any hard and fast rules around this. It's something that we're not dropping clients left and right, but it sometimes this kind of happens naturally, and oftentimes both parties kind of realize it if it's not the right fit.
I just don't think we're a good match.
The bottom line is that we don't have any regrets about how we grew, but our priorities have definitely shifted.
And the shift has given us more breathing room. It's freed up time and mental energy to focus on our own projects and doing the things we want to do and living the lifestyle that we want to live.
So those are the three big things that we've implemented in our business to buy back our time. Hiring the right people, putting the right systems in place, and shifting our focus to quality over quantity.
None of these changes were easy, but ultimately they made our business stronger and empowered us to focus on the things that matter most to us personally.
And if you're looking for a way to buy back your own time, the AirDNA and Uplisting Host Bundle is a great place to start. With one subscription, you'll have the tools to research smarter and run your business more efficiently.
Check out the link in the description box below or go to arrivals.com/host bundle. And we want to say a big thank you to AirDNA for sponsoring this video.
Don't forget to check out our 50 state series kickoff video next week, but we'll also leave another video that we think you'll like here on screen.
Thanks for watching. We'll see you in the next one.